guys, in this video we're going to be checking out the Happy Model Snapper 7. This is a brushless Tiny Whoop 75mm size, so it's got the 41mm propellers. And before I get all the way into the video and tell you my recommendation on this, I'll just go ahead and tell you right now that I really like this and I think you should buy it. Comes in at $87 currently on Banggood. Pretty low price, pretty good deal, and much better. This thing flies better than what I built not too recently. I think it was only 3 weeks ago. So I did a video a few weeks ago on this custom build here with brushless 1S board and some 07, 03, 20,000 kV Racer Star motors. You know, it's very similar, same size. It's got a plastic frame here instead of this aluminum frame and carbon frame, which I'll get into in a little bit here. I think that's much better. And even though the Snapper 7 weighs more than my custom build, I think this weighs, well, let me just get the scales out and I'll show you. Snapper 7 comes in at 29.5 grams, and my custom build here comes in at 25.5 grams. So the Snapper 7 actually weighs 4 grams more, which is quite a bit. Yeah, so the Snapper 7 does weigh 4 grams more, and it's pretty significant, but I think that it flies better, and I think it has to do with the frame. I think that these aluminum ducts and this carbon bottom plate makes this very stiff for the size. And I think that helps a lot in the flight characteristics, and I think that these motors are better too. These Happy Model, these are 07, 03, I think they're only 19,000 kV. And it's got, I think these are pretty much the same props, pretty much the same style, 3-bladed, not sure what they're called. But I think the motors and the frame are the big difference. I mean, the flight controller is also different too. It's got the Crazy Bee on here, on the Snapper 7, which I did a review on. If you want details on the flight controller itself, there's a card in the corner for that video. If you want to check it out, there's a lot of good information on that flight controller. I think that flight controller does help in terms of it has the built-in receiver, whereas the one I used on this build here has a separate receiver, so it adds a little bit of weight there. But the plastic frame does reduce the weight compared to the metal frame here, but because it's so flexible, I think that does hinder the flight characteristics a little bit. This thing just felt really locked in. I mean, I didn't have to do a whole lot of tuning compared to the older the 3-week-old build, and you know, I think it has to do with the frame, and it's just stiffer, and I thought it just felt really locked in. It flew really nicely. The motors felt pretty nice, good power. Pretty decent flight time too. I got more flight time on this the Snapper 7 versus my older custom build using the same lipos. So yeah, that's another big thing. And I think it again has to do with the motors. I think the Racer Star motors are not as efficient. And the price, I mean, it's $87 currently. I think that's on promotion. I'm not sure how long it's going to be. I'd grab that as soon as possible if you're wanting to get a brushless micro, a Tiny Whoop. This custom build here, I think if you bought all the parts and built it yourself, it would cost you more. And you have to do a lot of soldering, and it's kind of a pain in the ass to build it, and you have to configure it and flash it and all that good stuff. Whereas this thing just comes right out of the box, ready to go. I did have to put a little bit of tuning into it. I will put my PIDs up on the screen here. You guys can copy those if you want. Not a whole lot comes in the box. Okay, so not a whole lot comes in the box. You do get one lipo in the basic version, which is what I got, and it does come in basic and standard. I think standard comes with 3 lipos instead of 1, and I think you get some other extra things in the advanced version or the standard version that this one doesn't come with, but that wasn't available at the time that this was ordered. And you, of course, you get the instruction manual, very good. Has a setup on how to do the binding. It's all very straightforward. Changing your channels on your video transmitter, not a big deal. But you do get one set of spare props, and it does come with these extra little screws here because you might need them, because one of my screws fell out in one of my flights. And so you want to double check, make sure all your screws are nice and tight. Maybe even use a little bit of Loctite to make those down, lock those down. But in case you do lose one, they provide a couple spare screws, and you get some extra rubber bands for your battery, and that's down here. You just put the battery underneath. It just sits in nice and flat, and then you get a prop removal tool, and then you get this 1S USB charger. It does a high volt and regular LiPos. It does the 1.25 millimeter batteries and the 2 millimeter batteries. So it's I think this comes with a lot of the brushless Tiny Whips now. Yeah, anyway, a little bit more about the frame. I think this is some kind of a inspired by design. I think there's a frame kit from Racon Heli. I don't know if they have a ready to fly or a pre-built model. I couldn't find one on their website. But it has like the similar style here with the carbon bottom plate and then these aluminum hoops. Now, at first I thought maybe these would be pretty dent, I guess, prone, but they're fairly stiff. This is probably 70-75 aluminum, and I did bash these into the wall in my house and into some trees. No issues with it being disfigured or bent in any way. It seems to be holding up okay. And then these little aluminum legs are also pretty strong too. This is what the motors are mounted to. And yeah, I think that the frame and then the hoops, if you get that kit from Racon Heli, just the frame kit without any electronics, I think it was like about $45. So their prices are fairly expensive for what you get at Racon Heli, and I think this is what they kind of took their design from. And obviously, it's a pre-built model, so that's always a good thing. You don't have to, spend a lot of time building it, and it's just basically you have to charge the battery, put it on a PID tune, and then you can go and fly it. Actually, I have to go and bind the receiver as well. And actually, I'll just mention that really quickly. Binding this is super simple. So normally you would have to hold the bind button down and then plug in the battery, but you don't have to do that in this case. It has to do with the way the new receiver is on this built-in board. So you plug in the battery here, and then you get some red and white flashing lights on the bottom, and then all you have to do is press the bind button for 2 seconds, and the bind button is right there. So you press that for 2 seconds, the lights will turn solid, and then you'll know you're in bind mode. And then you just go to your radio, hit the bind button on your radio, and then you'll be bound. So binding is really easy in this one. So yeah, really great. Binding is easy. Everything is easy about this thing, and it flies great. So, and the price is cheap. And I just can't believe that they're selling this for $87. Anyway, yeah, highly recommend you guys check it out. I'm going to show you flight footage. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.